Okay, we're rolling today. We have, for everybody's viewing pleasure, my Volvo s60r.
It's an R. It's really an R.
Yeah, we hope so. So what we're doing today here is actually removing the front bumper for reasons because one of the headlights, actually, this headlight here is cutting in and out. I'm getting a low beam failure. So, and it kind of comes and goes. One theory is that there's actually water in the ballast, so in order to get to, which I've already replaced by the way, but we're gonna do this again. So, I replaced it when I first got the car. So anyway, I've got a brand new ballast now we're gonna put in, but in order to get to it, we have to get actually underneath the light itself. So the equivalent would be it's under in there somewhere. So in order to get to it, the front bumper has to come off, and while we're doing that, my passenger side fog is broken. I'll throw this here just for a second. The fog itself is broken. There's all stuff packed in there because the glass itself shattered. So I've got a new one, and we're gonna fix and replace that. Okay. So hopefully this will be fun, and everybody's coming along for the ride. First things first, we're getting the car jacked up, and we're gonna take the front wheels off. And that's what we're going to do, and then we're going to go for the bumper, and you'll see all of that. You'll see all that here. Go ahead. Okay, wheels are off, and that's simply to gain access to right in here, which you'll see in a minute. Okay, so next things next. There are these snap things on the front bumper here. We've got these snaps, these things, and you push them down where these pop up, but if they're the traditional type, you just push them down and then they actually will pop for you. So let's see if we can get it to do that. Pop, pop, pop. Good. Okay. Just simply anyway. Those come up relatively easily. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the top tabs are done, so this is loose here. Now we have to loosen it elsewhere. Next thing to do is this. Very careful here. Now you should be doing this with what's called a bone tool, not a screwdriver, but it's so worn that it probably won't even matter. The trim just comes off just like that. If you peel it the right way, of all the stuff Volvo does, their stuff usually just pops right off. It tends just to pop, which is great. Okay, there are bumper bolts inside of here in these holes. So I can get 2 of those. 10mm goes into a bolt here. Always use power tools.
As long as that bolt doesn't drop.
Ooh.
There.
That's all right. It actually. Down there anyway.
There you go.
Okay. That's 2. Those are bumper bolts. And if you lose one, like I did, then you gotta order new.
I'm going to come over your other shoulder here.
The light is shined exactly where it needs to be. Right here, there's a nut. I don't know, this might be T25. Son of a gun, it's T25. Now, don't have to take it all the way out, just push it in, because it's going to release the front bumper. The whole thing slides right off. So there's a release mechanism inside here, so You don't want to completely undo it. You just want to have it released enough. We're going to need to unscrew it from wherever else it's attached underneath too. So let's leave it like that for now. Let's go do the other side. The bolts and the wheel wells are released, and this whole thing is tending to move now. There's probably some spots underneath that I got to release it, so I'm going to try to show that best I can. But this car has a particular problem. It's got Droopy Lip Syndrome, and it's fairly common. This is very common to these cars, so we're hopefully going to fix that tonight. I know it's all cracked and whatnot, so I need a new front bumper. I know that. So we're going to eventually get a new front bumper, but for tonight, I got to just repair this if I can. There's a gray connector way up in here. I don't know if you're angled quite right. Keep coming this way and then bodily move it that way. There we go. Can you see that?
Yeah.
This gray connector, you got to click thumb side, push towards the outside of the car, and pull. There it is. Just a little spring clip. Okay, I'm lying down to this, I don't know why. This you have to shove as far back as possible and then pop it out and move it forward. Because you have to release it from the grabbing mechanism that's here. And by the way, the mechanism that grabs the front bumper and holds it back does actually break quite often, so you may need to replace that, and I can get you a part number. Okay. Shove it back. Pop it out. It should just pop forward. Okay.
And we are connected over here. Stand by.
So let me drop this. You stay right there. Don't let it.
Yep.
Because I want to show. All right. So here's this. So we're looking at passenger side right now. There's the connector. Passenger side. Go ahead and do it. Press towards the outside of the car and gently pull. Good. That's how to do that. So now we've got the front bumper laying down here on the ground, and essentially we've got the bumper off. So good time to clean it. Good time to inspect our R. Kelly intake, which I don't know. It works sort of, but I'm yeah. Anyway, I think I'm going to rip that thing out eventually. So for right now, we're going to play with getting the fog lights proper. You can see that this one over here is busted on the back side, and it's busted on the front side, so it's time to replace the whole thing. So we're excited about that. Let's get that done. Now, one thing that does worry me is this over here. I knew that this car was used, but I didn't know that the front bumper had been replaced. I really doubt that Volvo actually wrote S60 in that type of font on the so I don't know what this all means over here. Maybe somebody can tell me whether this is actually good for this car or not, or rather this is original. I doubt this is original. So again, down here I see another S60 mark. So this probably came from a junkyard somewhere. That gives me good feelings. Very nice. This is in front of the driver's side wheel well. Right here we have the part number for this whole plastic piece. It's this slidey piece here, slides in and out, and this is actually what grabs a hold of the bumper and pulls it back. So this pulls the bumper back and into position, and that's what attaches to the T25 Torx right there. What we've got now is the passenger side fog light, and you can see that this is all corroded. It's because the glass blew up, so all dirt and stuff has been getting in there. So I'm gonna remove the whole thing here and put our new part in. The new part number here is this. Alright, so here's the part number for a passenger side fog light. It's the whole assembly. I removed this piece. This is just so people know, if you want to put this on, it goes on from this direction clockwise. If you want to unscrew it counterclockwise, and it comes right out. theoretically, I'm going to put a little bit of lube right here, so it'll be a little easier next time to remove it. Anyway, let's go ahead and remove this. I am going to remove the old wiring harness. Also, might as well. Getting it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This just pops up, and the whole thing comes right out. And put that off to the side. And we've got T25 Torx, 1, 2, 3 here, which should just be able to undo. 1.
Getting closer.
2. 3. They look like wood screws to me. Alright. And this whole thing should pop out. Look at that. It does. That's pretty broken, I'd say. I don't know if there's anything salvageable in there. I probably wouldn't bother. Let's put the new one in and we'll be in pretty good shape. Check that out. Made in Russia. Come on, Volvo. Really?
In Russia, we cable you.
Okay. Next, I'm actually getting a little bit of grease. I really don't like putting any bolts down without grease. It's just poor policy, I think. Poor form, poor etiquette, whatever you want to call it. Generally a bad idea because I'm going to be doing this job again. I know it, you know it, everybody knows it. As long as we admit it to ourselves, that's fine. Okay. Now we're hoping that this fits, of course. Well, it sure looks like it might. That's good. It just lays right down in there, and that's nice. Okay. I'm going to put a little bit of lube on that too. Probably a really tiny amount here because you really don't want any grease anywhere around lamps or bulbs because they get really hot. And that might be bad. Now we can screw this. This goes down. On. That's it. That is solid. Very nice. Let's do the screws here. These go down with really low torque, at least to start, and then I'm going to finish them by hand once this is all in proper position. So you need a T25 Torx and a screwdriver for this. That'll do. That's that. She's down. Now we put the connector on. You know what? I'm going to put some lube on that too. I know. I'm cuckoo. I got it. I really do got it. Everybody's going to look at me like I'm crazy. But I'm going to be the one that's able to get these connectors out. Is that in? That isn't actually in all the way. Yes. So it does not need to be any further. That's good. That's it.
What's the idea now, Matt?
The idea here is we're going to go from the outside, heat up the bumper, and see if we can't get it to be a little bit more plastic. Sparks. I'd say probably save the battery and whatnot. This is pretty. Right now what we're doing is I fabricated a piece for fixing the droopy lip. This is a piece of angle aluminum, 1 inch by, this is only 1/16 of an inch thick. You can do thicker, I guess. But I figured I'd go with the thin stuff just to see if this will work. Nice and light. And what this does is it offers some stiffness to this droopy lip. So we've already used the heat gun to push this into a more ideal position. But the idea here is that we're going to be able to tack this in a few spots just to keep this, keep the lip from moving too much. So we'll be able to use this as a brace, essentially, right like that. And maybe it'll work. I don't know. It might work. We'll see. So I'm going to put some screws in here with some lock washers and some Loctite, and that'll be that.
And go.
Okay, so we have a large washer on the outside for plastic. We have a washer, lock washer, and nut. I think these are like number 6 screws. And we're just going into aluminum here. I'm going nice and easy for now. We're going to tighten them down in a minute, but so far this looks pretty good. So far it looks good. Out of here.
What are we doing this for?
We're taking the headlight out because I need to get to the ballast.
What's wrong with the ballast?
I think the ballast is bad. I don't know for sure, but I think so. Amazing how little I know.
It's the illusion. That is the illusion.
So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Got one here. That
Okay.
looks legit. Don't lose that.
Good. I think they're all the same anyway.
And on the other side, maybe? Yeah.
This part that holds the bumper on was bolted here. 2 T25 Torx and 2 what look like body bolts. They go here, 10 millimeter. And it looks like the headlight is held in by one last 10 millimeter bolt right here. That's going to come off. And that's going to go over this side. And hopefully the headlight comes out. Yeah, good, okay. So now we just need to get rid of a few clips. Always a good sound. Alright, so before the whole thing comes out completely, we can take that connector off, the gray one. The big one worries me a little bit here, because it does not push down, pull out.
There you go.
And there we have the whole thing. So, there's our ballast, right there. So I put this one in. This is a used ballast from 2007, and theoretically it might be getting water in it. T20. 1, 2, 6. Now how do you lift it out? Flat blade here. Somewhere. Gently, carefully. And oh, by the way, this is extremely high voltage. So I, at any time, can get shocked here in the worst way possible.
Are there capacitors in there
Probably
you
not.
have to worry about?
Hopefully not. That just pops out like that. And I don't see any water in here. I don't see any loose connections. This one I had trouble figuring out. As it turns out, you push down on this little tab I thought it was lifting up. You basically push down on it and pull it, and it comes right out. No problem. Okay, so this is the old ballast. I'm going to swap it for the new. Old ballast, new ballast. Should be the same thing. It actually says 2013 on this one. So that's good. I'm going to take the seal off the old one because I don't have a new seal on the new one. So I'm going to take the seal off, use this again. And that one's over there. Use it just like that. Press, click, and just simply again a push connection here. Click, and that's it. Low torque. Alright, I am going to finish these by hand.
Why is that?
Because I like to feel it. Good. Okay. I think we can actually put this back in now.
All right.
This part here didn't come with the car. I had to order new. So, and by the way, if you order from Tasca Parts, you actually have to order both of these to get one of them, because if you order the big one, they'll guarantee to send you the small one. If you order the small one, you'll get the big one. So depending on what you need, just order both. And so let's put this back in. This is pretty straightforward. The gray one goes in. Click. I think that's for the turn signal. Okay. Click. Goes in, goes click. That's good. This connector here, this black one, this gets put down. Click. Feels good. Okay.
And what are you looking to guide in here?
I am looking to guide in the headlight, nice and easy.
Right, but as far as what pressure points are you being concerned with?
I don't know.
Okay. I don't know it's an acceptable answer.
I wish I knew all the stuff I didn't know.
All right. So what was that bracket underneath, and
right.
what did you have to do to it?
There's a headlight bracket, a headlight wiper bracket underneath that I simply got rid of because I don't like it. I don't like the look of the headlight wipers. I think they're kind of silly. Plus, you can't go to, like, as far as I know, you can't go into an AutoZone and pick up a new wiper blade anyway. That's kind of annoying, right? So I figured, you know what? I'm just going to get rid of them. And if eventually there's an aesthetic modification you can do to make it look better ultimately, I'm not going to worry about that right now, of course. Okay, so there are 4 10mm bolts holding the headlight in. So 1 on the side, 2 on the top. Not going to put that one quite home yet. Not quite yet. And I got 1 on the side over here, which I think was this one, right?
Hopefully.
All these are 10mm bolts. Good. Now, what we're going to do is actually check the headlight.
Cool.
That would be a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Before we stick the bumper back on, make sure this whole thing works.
Sure.
So I can't test the intermittentness because that's the whole problem, but at least I can test to make sure that this does actually work, and hopefully we fix the intermittent problem.
Fired.
We're good?
Yep. You want the... Right. Yep. Looks good. Okay.
So we have our headlight back in, and this bracket goes back on with 2 T25 screws and 2 10mm body bolts, and that's pretty much that. Next we put the bumper back on. So then what we do next, before we pop this on,
Plug it in.
plug it in, bring it down, closer. You ready? You good? Yep. Click. Click.
Yep.
Let's bring this. Good.
Right.
You.
Right.
The poppy things work best without the tops at all, and then you push this in later. And now this is held, so now we can align it and do whatever we need to do over here. Let me put it in the 2 bolts here for the front, and then we're darn sure that this is held. And of course, this is completely blind.
There's no way you can see it.
It is. Nice. We'll have to tighten that later. These are the 2 body bolts that go in front. I don't want to totally tighten this yet. Back is off just a touch. There.
Yeah.
And this will
We don't know.
cannon should just grab,
Yeah.
and then it will just come back. This will pull it back and in. Yeah.
Probably up here.
Yeah. And then this grabs. I don't like the system, but
No.
it helped.
Yep. Much better.